In the glittering halls of Beverly Hills, where wealth and power dripped from every corner, Ethan Whitmore, the arrogant son of a millionaire, thought he was about to amuse his friends. With a smug smile, he pointed at the Maid's teenage son and challenged him to a game of chess, turning the boy into the night's joke. To Ethan, it was nothing more than cruel entertainment. After all, how could the child of a servant possibly outsmart him? But what he didn't know was that this quiet boy carried years of hidden sacrifice, untapped brilliance, and a secret that would soon turn his laughter into shock, and his pride into bitter humiliation. The Whitmore mansion was the kind of place people only saw in magazines. Crystal chandeliers, gold-framed paintings, and a garden so vast it looked like it stretched into forever. That night, it wasn't just a home. It was a stage. Politicians, business moguls, and celebrities filled the grand hall, sipping champagne and exchanging smiles that hid rivalry. Every detail sparkled, every guest mattered, except for the people carrying the trays. Among them was Carmen's son, Daniel. Only 17, he moved quietly through the crowd, placing glasses on polished tables, his eyes lowered as if the marble floor was more welcoming than the stairs around him. To the guests, he was invisible, just another servant in a pressed white shirt. But inside him lived something none of them could see. Daniel had grown up in the shadows of privilege, his mother working endless hours to serve the very people who barely knew her name. Nights in their small apartment were filled with the sound of her exhaustion and his determination. While others slept, he studied, books borrowed from the library, puzzles solved by candlelight, and chessboards drawn on paper because they couldn't afford the real thing. Every move he memorized, every strategy he mastered, was like a secret weapon he carried silently. Ethan Whitmore, on the other hand, had never known struggle. The only son of a millionaire, he was raised to believe. The world bent in his favor. Surrounded by admiration, wealth, and indulgence, he thought nothing could threaten his pride. Which is why, when his eyes fell on Daniel that evening, an idea sparked, not of kindness, but of entertainment. What began as a careless whim was about to change the night. And for Ethan, it would become a lesson he never saw coming. Ethan Whitmore had always loved an audience. And tonight, with the glitter of Beverly Hills shining through the tall windows and the hum of expensive laughter surrounding him, he saw the perfect chance to show off. His friends circled close, the sons and daughters of CEOs and politicians, each one hungry for a distraction from their own gilded boredom. "Watch this," Ethan whispered smugly as he motioned toward the antique chessboard sitting in the corner of the hall. Few guests ever touched it, but Ethan thought it would serve perfectly for his little show. His gaze landed on Daniel, the maid's son, who was carefully balancing a silver tray of glasses. Ethan raised his voice just enough for everyone to hear. "Hey, you! Put that down. Come here. Let's see if the servant boy knows how to play chess," Ethan announced, his words dripping with cruelty disguised as amusement. Laughter rippled through the group, the kind of laughter that wasn't kind at all. To them, this wasn't a game. It was a performance, a way to remind Daniel of his place. He walked to the table and took a seat opposite Ethan. The polished pieces gleamed under the chandelier, their cold shine reflecting in Daniel's eyes. For a moment, silence hung between them, broken only by Ethan's mocking voice. "Don't worry," Ethan smirked, sliding a pawn forward. "I'll go easy on you." The crowd chuckled. To them, this was a sure win, a rich boy humiliating, a servant's child for sport. They leaned in, whispering, waiting for the embarrassment to unfold. But Daniel's hand moved with steady precision as he returned Ethan's opening move. No hesitation. No nerves. Piece after piece, Ethan played with arrogance, slamming his moves down as though the force would prove his superiority. Daniel, however, moved differently, quiet, deliberate, thoughtful. His eyes studied the board with an intensity none of the guests had expected. Every move was calculated, every decision purposeful. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd. At first, they were amused. Then, they became curious. And slowly, a few even leaned closer, realizing something unusual was happening. Ethan's smirk began to fade, his forehead creasing as Daniel's strategies unfolded with an elegance far beyond his years. By the time 10 moves had passed, the air in the room had shifted. The laughter had dimmed, replaced by a strange tension. The game no longer looked like entertainment. It looked like a battle, and the boy they thought would be crushed was holding his ground with unsettling brilliance. For Ethan, it was supposed to be a joke. For Daniel, it was something else entirely. This was his chance, his quiet rebellion, to show them all that genius could come from anywhere, even from the son of a maid. And piece by piece, the room began to realize the servant's child was no ordinary boy. Guests who had once laughed at the servant's son were now silent, their eyes locked on the board. The only sounds in the room were the faint clink of chess pieces and Ethan's increasingly ragged breathing. Every time he thought he had trapped Daniel, the boy would reveal a counter so swift, so brilliant, it left the onlookers gasping. Ethan slammed down a rook, his hands trembling. Daniel didn't flinch. He studied the board for only a moment before sliding his knight into place. Gasps erupted. Ethan's mouth fell open. His king was cornered. How did you... Ethan stammered, his voice cracking. Daniel remained silent, his expression calm, his eyes unblinking. He didn't need words. The board spoke for him. The humiliation deepened. Ethan tried to prolong the inevitable, dragging out each turn as if time itself could save him. But Daniel was relentless. With every move, he closed the net tighter until there was nowhere left for Ethan to run. Finally, with the elegance of a master, Daniel moved his queen into position. The word hung in the air, unspoken yet undeniable. Checkmate. A stunned silence swept across the glittering hall. The sons and daughters of the wealthy, who had moments ago treated Daniel like a punchline, now stared at him as though they had witnessed something impossible. Ethan sat frozen, his pride shattered. His friends shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to comfort him or acknowledge the brilliance they had just seen. And there, under the golden chandelier, the son of a maid had defeated privilege, arrogance, and prejudice in the simplest yet most devastating way, by revealing a genius no one had cared to see. Daniel slowly rose from his seat, his face calm, his dignity intact. For the first time that evening, the laughter was gone. In its place was something Ethan had never imagined: respect for the boy he thought would always be beneath him. The room remained silent, the echoes of Daniel's victory still lingering in the air. Ethan Whitmore sat frozen, his arrogance dismantled, piece by piece. And for the first time, he truly saw the boy he had underestimated. The son of a maid, the quiet figure who had seemed invisible for years, had just outsmarted him in front of everyone. Not with luck, not with help, but with years of dedication, sacrifice, and brilliance that no wealth could buy. The wealthy guests, once eager spectators of a joke, now regarded Daniel with awe. Their laughter and whispers of superiority had vanished, replaced by a humbling realization. Talent and intelligence cannot be measured by class, last name, or bank account. Carmen, standing quietly at the side, felt a surge of pride she had held back for years. Her son had always been extraordinary, and now the world had no choice but to see it. Ethan's friends looked away, ashamed of their earlier mockery. For the first time, the son of privilege understood that arrogance has limits, and that underestimating someone because of their background can lead to the most public of humiliations. Daniel, however, showed no gloating. His calm smile carried the weight of self-respect, a quiet lesson in grace that echoed louder than any insult could. In the weeks that followed, the story spread like wildfire. Daniel's brilliance was recognized by mentors, scholarships, and opportunities he had once only dreamed of. Carmen's years of labor were finally honored, not as charity, but as recognition of her unwavering support and the value of hard work. And Ethan? He faced a harsh truth. Money and status cannot shield one from the consequences of pride and prejudice. The chessboard, once a stage for humiliation, had become a symbol of triumph, proof that true nobility comes not from wealth, but from character, perseverance, and intellect. Daniel had turned what was meant to belittle him into a moment that inspired everyone present, a reminder that greatness often lives in the most unexpected places. As Daniel left the mansion that night, walking beside his mother under the loss, Angela's stars, one thought, lingered. In life, as in chess, every move matters, but the greatest victories come to those who prepare in silence, with patience, skill, and unwavering determination. If you've experienced or witnessed injustice, share your story in the comments. I might even make a video about it to raise awareness and justice. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so together we can spread the message further.